An Introduction to the Core Tenets of Transcendental Satanism. Introduction. The Path of Spiritual Evolution. This document provides a clear and concise overview of the foundational principles of Transcendental Satanism, designed for those new to the topic. At its core, this belief system is presented as a religion of spiritual evolution, referred to as the Infernal Process. This process is a deeply personal journey of self-creation, focused on deconstructing externally imposed beliefs and rebuilding a unique self-defined existence. The central concept involves a splintered consciousness. Upon conception, a portion of an individual's consciousness is said to form the Satanic Aspect, a metaphysical, fully realized version of the self. The goal of the Infernal Process, therefore, is to create a spiritual map that reconnects the developing self in the physical world with this fully realized metaphysical potential. The following tenets serve as the practical guidelines, philosophical framework, and ultimate objectives for this profound journey. 1. The 15 statements, guidelines for action. The 15 statements are practical, action-oriented principles that serve as a guide for personal conduct and self-development. They outline the behaviors and mindsets necessary to navigate the path of spiritual evolution. 1. Never deny lust. Lust is framed as an immensely powerful natural force. This statement advises that one should consciously acknowledge and express this drive, because suppressing it can lead to uncontrolled and harmful actions. 2. Respect and follow desire. Desire is seen as a map that reveals one's proper path in life. Following and satisfying desires allows an individual to gain consciousness and fill experiential voids, leading to a more complete self. 3. Live without regret. Regret is a detrimental emotion that traps energy in the past, preventing full engagement with the present. To live without regret is to free up personal energy, allowing one to gain the maximum benefit from new experiences. 4. Relinquish given morality. This tenet argues that morality is taught by one's social environment, not inherent. To gain control over one's thoughts, an individual must reject externally imposed moral codes and develop a personalized set of standards. This rejection is a prerequisite for the long-term objective of experimenting with and understanding all so-called perverse actions to form a truly personalized worldview. 5. Use fear as a guide to pursue action. Fear often signals the presence of a deep underlying desire. By confronting and overcoming the situations that cause fear, an individual can uncover and act upon their most fundamental desires. 6. Strive for a continued advancement of mind and body. The mind and body are viewed as an interconnected system where neither can be neglected without harming the whole. This principle emphasizes the need for continuous, balanced development in both mental and physical realms. 7. Die, rather than fail or submit. When pursuing a goal of true importance, one must adopt the belief that the only alternative to success is death. The adoption of this mindset is a tool to ensure total commitment, ensuring all possible resources and efforts are dedicated to overcoming opposition. 8. Reject illusions created by words. Words and social narratives shape our perception of reality. This statement argues that those who control what people accept as truth create the world and control how people make decisions. Therefore, one must critically scrutinize all given information to break free from this external manipulation. 9. Live life through action. Feelings and words are insufficient on their own. Life must be expressed through tangible accomplishment. This principle prioritizes doing over talking, turning intentions into concrete actions in the objective world. 10. Develop conscious discipline. Discipline is the focused persistence required to achieve any goal. Cultivating conscious self-control is essential for developing skills, building internal power, and making meaningful progress. 11. Take full responsibility for personal actions. An individual is the creator of their own life experiences. Accepting full responsibility for all outcomes, good or bad, empowers the self and removes one from being at the mercy of others' actions. 12. Always be aware of signs from the Satanic Aspect. The Satanic Aspect is said to provide subtle cues and signs to guide an individual. Learning to recognize and interpret these signs helps in making beneficial choices that lead to personal development and the accomplishment of goals. 13. Seek all forms of power. Power, whether physical, mental, or social, is viewed as the fuel for existence. It is to be actively sought and cultivated to raise one's overall energy and capacity for action. 14. Renounce rigid existence when existence becomes an unconscious act. Life should be a fluid process of self-creation. If any belief or practice, including these statements, becomes an inflexible law followed unconsciously, it should be renounced to avoid spiritual stagnation. 15. Complete all that is begun. Seeing every chosen task through to its conclusion builds discipline and self-trust. By consciously choosing endeavors and committing to their completion at all costs, an individual learns to manifest accomplishments. While the 15 statements provide a map for personal action, the 8 standard beliefs establish the philosophical foundation upon which those actions are built. 2. The 8 standard beliefs, a foundational worldview. These beliefs form the core metaphysical and philosophical framework of Transcendental Satanism. They define the nature of reality, the self, and the spiritual path as understood within this system. 1. Belief in the power of will and its ability to shape things within the subjective and objective realm according to personal predilections. This is the central metaphysical principle, that focused personal will is the most powerful force in existence. An unwavering belief in one's ability to manifest desired outcomes in both the internal, subjective, and external objective worlds is considered essential. 2. Belief in the gratification of all desire, which can only lead to greater consciousness. Satisfying desires is not merely for pleasure, but is the primary method for gaining consciousness. Each fulfilled desire adds depth and definition to the self, contributing to the creation of a more complete being. 3. Belief in the figurative or literal death of all who oppose personal will and action. This belief requires maintaining an internal, uncompromising stance against any opposition to one's spiritual path. Compromise, such as agreeing to disagree, is viewed as a form of submission to an opposing will, so those who hinder the path are to be considered enemies whose failure should be desired. 4. Belief in the spiritual evolution of the self-humans are not static. They are in a constant state of change. This belief emphasizes that spiritual development is an active, ongoing process that can be consciously directed toward desirable outcomes. 5. Belief in the absent dimension, from which all new dimensions are given birth. This concept posits a realm of pure potential that exists before the subjective mind. All new creations and manifestations are drawn from the raw, unformed energy of this absent dimension before they take shape in thought or reality. 6. Belief in the defined form, which has the ability to exist beyond death. The defined form is the ultimate product of spiritual evolution, a self-created, unique consciousness free from external manipulation. This fully realized self is believed to be capable of surviving physical death. 7. Belief in the 6 gateways of advancement and the self-created gateway. This belief affirms the existence of specific passages to other realms where power and consciousness can be gathered. The 6 gateways are identified as pain, pleasure, dreams, creation, abstinence, and synthesis. Trust in these gateways is considered necessary to access their benefits for spiritual advancement. 8. Belief in the Satanic Aspect. This is a belief in the divine portion of the self and the personalized spiritual path it reveals. It requires trusting that this higher consciousness provides guidance at the proper times and in unique ways to lead toward full self-development. With these beliefs as a foundation, the practice of Transcendental Satanism is directed toward achieving several primary goals. 3. The 7 primary goals, the objectives of the path. The 7 primary goals outline the long-term objectives for an individual practicing Transcendental Satanism. They represent the ultimate aims of the Infernal Process, both for the individual and for the creation of a new form of society. 1. To create a separate consciousness of the defined self, distinct from the mass consciousness. The primary individual goal is to separate one's own consciousness from the collective herd mentality of society. This allows an individual to observe and interact with the world without being unconsciously influenced by social trends and compulsions. 2. To bring about self-created individuals who function separately from the uninitiated masses, yet still from the inside of what he or she is separate from. This goal is not about isolation, but about influence. The aim is to create individuals who can operate with independent thought and will within society, capable of imposing their will upon the systems they have rebelled against. 3. To bring about a new outer society held together not by ethnic background or geography, but by shared belief and dedication to the word. The objective is to form a new type of social group aligned by a shared philosophy and will. This provides a necessary power base, as a lone individual is seen as vulnerable when confronting the mass consciousness of established social groups. 4. To fully experiment in and understand all so-called perverse and unacceptable desires and actions. To break free from social conditioning, one must gain first-hand experience with behaviors and ideas that society labels as perverse or unacceptable. This allows for the formation of a truly personalized understanding of the world, free from imposed moral judgments. 5. To constantly create manifestations that enter the circle of creation. This goal involves putting forth one's creations, artistic, intellectual, etc., into the public sphere to be tested. This process, the circle of creation, serves as a way to gauge and strengthen the power of one's will and creative abilities. 6. To obtain status on the true ladder of rank rather than the one imposed by people supposedly in authority, the aim is to reject societal hierarchies based on wealth, fame, etc., that control thoughts and actions. True status is to be measured by one's own internal development and mastery of the self, not by external validation. 7. To advance the 7 stages of the Infernal Initiation. This goal refers to progressing through a structured 7-stage process designed to methodically build a self-created individual. The stages, which include rebirth, second awareness, and synthesized cultivation, serve as a framework for achieving the path's objectives. Conclusion. A unified path to self-creation. The core tenets of Transcendental Satanism form a cohesive and integrated system for profound personal transformation. The 15 statements provide the practical, action-based ethics for daily conduct. The 8 standard beliefs establish the foundational worldview that gives those actions meaning. Finally, the 7 primary goals define the ultimate objectives toward which all actions and beliefs are directed. Together, these 3 pillars function as a comprehensive framework for the Infernal Process, a spiritual journey aimed not at worship of an external deity, but at the radical and deliberate creation of the self.